Good morning, good afternoon and good evening folks, and welcome back to the channel. This week is a great one. We're going to be showing all you lovely YouTube people how to find a job, specifically in Galway here in Ireland. Himself is currently job hunting and he is going to share with you all his tips and tricks on how to bag that job. So stay tuned to the end of the video and you will learn a few tips and tricks on how to find yourself a job. So let's go to town and we'll move on to the next part of the video. Let's go.
I am not job hunting. I got a job actually. It took me some 10 days, but yeah, let's get you through the process. So I applied online. We're gonna talk a little bit later about online versus doing it the old-fashioned way and giving out your CVs in town. But yeah, it was an online application and there was 3 steps to getting a job. I got a job in a company called Medtronic. They produce medical equipment. I still don't know what exactly I will be doing there, but I'm gonna find that out next week. But let's start from the beginning. So I applied online. After that, I got a phone call telling me that they want me to do a test. So I was called up to an agency called Manpower, because they, I guess, are in charge of employing people for that company. So I got there and the test had 2 parts. First one was like a general IQ test. I guess you know how those looks, with a bunch of questions. What will you do in different situations? And the second part was actually, I don't want to say practical, but it was a series of assignments with different electrical parts, and I was supposed to diagnose, I guess, which part in the sequence was faulty. That was a bit tricky, but I passed the test, so I guess I did it correctly. The next step after that, 2 days after, they called me for an official proper interview. Now, that also had 2 parts of it. First part was just questions about my previous employers, my references, what did I do, how long did I stay at my previous jobs, how often do I change jobs, you know, stuff like that to get me know a little bit better. And then the second part was literally practical. I got a series of, let's call them screws, very tiny screws that were in a squiggly line and in different colors. So you have a specified amount of time in which you need to do all of those. You need to screw them all the way to the bottom and assign them the right color compared to the chart they show you. And the third one, which I am yet to do, next week on Tuesday, I am scheduled to do a medical. How that will look, I honestly don't know. I never had to do a medical actually for a job yet, so I guess we're gonna find out. But yeah, that was the process of getting a job in Medtronic here in Galway, Ireland. If you have any questions, I will be glad to answer them down in the comment section. What we're gonna do now is talk about some general tips that might help you get a job in Ireland. So let's get into it.
The first point we're going to talk about this morning is online versus in-person applying for jobs. Personally, in the last couple of weeks, we had an awful lot of people coming into my workplace with CVs, and I think that's great. I love that. I think it's great to be able to meet someone and just have a quick chat with them before you take the CV. But companies, especially larger ones, absolutely hate that. It's too much, because if you have 30 people in a day bringing in CVs, they're going to pile up, they're going to get like lost, and then whoever is handing in the applicant handing in their CV, it's going to get lost and then you may not be contacted. So personally, I think it's better to apply online and then maybe follow up. You could drop into wherever it is that you applied for and just ask them if they'd received your CV. But definitely not going in, handing it in. That's just driving everybody nuts. So for me, that's a no. Apply online, and if you haven't heard anything back in maybe 2 weeks, then maybe follow on and see if anything has happened. Excuse me for my verbal diarrhea, guys. I've had a coffee and a cookie and I'm still trying to swallow that.
Now, my experience with this is divided, because as I just mentioned, this job I got online, but my last job, where I spent 2 years, I got by handing in my CV in person. I literally walked into the shop. I worked in retail the last 7, even more years, but anywho, yeah, I walked into a shop with a CV and basically asked, do they need a supervisor? And it turned out they did. So yeah, it's so, but yeah, probably these days everything is online. I mean, so yeah, the thing is, if you're not in Ireland, every company, I'd say, will always prefer hiring people who are able to come and do the interview in person. Now, that might mean that if you're outside of the country, you might have to take a plunge and come into our island, get a basic job at, I don't know, Starbucks or a pub or something like that, and then start interviewing for something you actually want. Now, if that suits you or not, I can't tell. That's very subjective. But yeah, anyhow, comment section, you can tell me how is it in your country. Do people prefer online applications, or do they prefer walk-ins and just, you know, doing it person to person?
So the third option for people that may be interested in is agency work. Basically, you can let an agent know the different areas that you were able to work in: hospitality, you know, like bar work, kitchen, restaurant, or pharmaceutical, pharmacy, blah blah blah. And then you will be placed around the city or wherever that you're able to go to and work at different places. Now that does suit an awful lot of people, but then there's people that actually like routine and structure and know their time of work every single week. When you work for an agency, it is not like that. It's very it's very flexible. One week you could have over 40 hours, the next you could have maybe 5 hours in a whole week. So you'll have to take that into account. But there has been people that has worked in my restaurant, part of the agency, and they have a few things going, like they work for Deliveroo and then they work as part of the agency, and it suits them, and they get to travel and stuff in between. So that is definitely an option for anyone that doesn't really need security of a full-time Monday to Friday job.
Now, the first actual tip I will give you is do not just apply to every single job posting you see online. You need to pick things that you actually want to do and that you actually can do. There's several reasons for that. First of all, it saves you time. You won't waste your time just applying to every single thing, and you won't apply with a generic CV and a cover letter English language to every single thing. And the second more important one is when you go to an interview for a job that you want to do or can do, you'll have a lot more confidence in that interview, and just because of that you will be more hireable. Is that even a word? Anywho, what do you think about what I just said?
Yeah, they're all very valid points. I think it's better to go into these things with confidence and to maybe go. I think he said earlier about going to just a basic any job when you first arrive here. I think that's great, because then you're going to you're going to use that as your test dummy. You're going to go in, you're going to do your best and hope for the best. But yeah, no, all valid points. And yeah.
Make a short list of jobs that you can do or you want to do, and then just research the hell out of all the positions that are posted online for those jobs. And then when you basically need to make a specific both CV and the cover letter for that one job. Do not send generic ones to all of them, because there's a specific, there are a lot of companies today, especially the big ones, will also use SEO to filter through the CVs. So research, go to Google. If you don't know what SEO is, go to Google, find out. It's not that complicated, and just research the keywords and basically SEO that you need to do for the specific job that you're applying to. It helps a lot with big companies, because as I said, they do filter CVs through their SEO criteria, I guess.
For anyone that's interested, guys, we have a Patreon. We have a lovely community there at the moment, and we're very grateful, and a big welcome to our new patrons. Hello Ed, it was lovely meeting you and your brother Dino yesterday here in Galway. But yeah, so if you were interested, we have live videos every month or every other month, depending on how fast that month goes. We push all our videos on the Patreon before we post them on YouTube, and it only costs the price of a sticky bun or a pint of Guinness each month. So if that's something that you're interested in, please check it out. We would appreciate it, because we'd like to be full-time YouTubers someday, or maybe buy a yacht. But thank you guys. Now, I wouldn't be an expert now on visas and work permits, but I've experienced a few little things with people that I've worked with in work, currently actually. You need to make sure that all those things are above board, and like for example, I had a colleague work with me, and he unfortunately had to leave the job temporarily until he has his work permit sorted. Now, he's from a non-EU country, so if you're watching and you're from a non-EU country, make sure that you have all those things in order, and especially when you are here for whatever amount of time, if you're studying here in college or you're working part-time, whatever it is, just make sure that you have all that up to board or whatever that saying is. English, my first language. But yeah, very important, don't forget, put them on your to-do list, visas and permits. Oh yeah, and if you're from the EU, you're fine, come and go as you please. Just make sure you have a passport or ID card for the airport.
The next tip I'll give you is network your heart out. Don't shy away from it. You never know, someone you know may work somewhere where they're looking for someone like you. It's nothing to be ashamed of. It works like that in every single country in the world. So what do you think? Worth it or not?
Sure, hello, that's how I got my position. My sister was working up in the hospital before me. I was in a pharmacy and I was like, I need something new and something exciting. And then, yeah, my sister actually got me an interview. So, yeah, that's the way to go. I think most of my jobs actually was that way. With the odd one or two, like the pharmacy position, I had to actually apply for that and do it the old-fashioned way and actually go in and meet somebody and do the whole thing. But yeah, no, nothing wrong with networking. And
If you already have someone living in Ireland, a friend or a relative or I don't know, just acquaintance, don't be shy and ask them if their company is hiring, because it's highly possible that they will be able to help you find a job. Because I won't say most of the companies in Ireland are hiring, but it's really not hard getting a job here. It never took me more than 10 days to get a job. I literally came back from Croatia 2 weeks ago, and I basically have a job after I do the medical on Tuesday, as I mentioned. But yeah, ask your friends, because you never know. Tip number 3 is study up on the interview process. Read about different interviews, and more importantly, use YouTube. There is plenty of videos on YouTube about how to handle interviews. Now, those videos won't tell you the answers to specific questions you will get on the interviews, but they will teach you how to answer them, in which way to sound more appealable. Is that a word? I don't know. Do you think that's plausible?
yes. Of course it is.
Yeah.
To be appealing.
YouTube will teach you a lot about that, and it will give you confidence, because there's specific type of questions you get on the interviews and the specific answers, I guess, that are of course gonna help you more than others. So yeah, go on YouTube, literally type in how to do a job interview, things like that. You will be surprised with the amount of videos on that topic.
And also, if there's anyone on our channel here that has gone through that process, maybe share a few tips down below.
Of course, yeah, comment section. Yeah, tell us how the interview process, not just the interview, just hiring process worked in your countries. Do you think it's different than in Ireland? I don't know. So yeah, share the experiences. You never know who it may help.
Tip number 4, after every interview, you need to follow up really with a thank you email just for their time. I think it looks really good, and employers do appreciate those kind of little gestures, because it shows that you do appreciate their time. And it's very, very difficult working in that area and interviewing everybody, and not just from the employee side as well. So definitely follow up. And as I said earlier, if you were 2 weeks in and you haven't heard anything back from a company, especially a larger one, make sure that you do just check in and just see if the application has been put through and if you will be called for any sort of an interview or
Yeah, after every single interview, even before you know if you got a job or not, just thank them for the opportunity, because it might keep you separated from the other candidates, and it might float you up on the top, because they will remember those who I guess follow up, because I don't think a lot of people does that.
It's a beautiful day. Isn't it so come on, let's
After everything you heard, comment section, please do let us know what you think about our tips, what you think about the process of getting a job in Ireland, what do you think about the process I went through to get a job in Medtronic. Do you think that's too much, or do you think that's justified? Basically, tell us whatever you think about everything we said, I guess. Wow, that was some sentence.
I actually have one more final note to say before we close
Go.
the door on this. I noticed from a lot of people that has come to work in my little restaurant that they're very conscious about their English, and I think that's kind of like sad, because just because your English isn't perfect doesn't mean that you shouldn't speak it or feel a little bit uncomfortable. Like, as an Irish person, I work with lots of Irish people and we don't even notice things like that. Like, look at me. I'm always getting verbal diarrhea, and I'm always making up my own words. Who cares? Just don't let that hold you back, and don't feel like you have to be quiet because your English isn't perfect. This is why you're here, isn't it? Practice your English and to, work and go to college and new experience. Don't be shy.
I think there is the other side of that. There are some people, well, not just in the hospital, but I know a few in the hospital that have been in Ireland last 20 years and they can barely say a word of English, and I don't understand that. That's just, oh come on, they exist.
We have one. I try to encourage that person every day. I'll be like, hey.
If he didn't make an effort in 20 years, he won't do it now. But yeah, that's the other side of that coin. Anywho, if you like this video, press the like button. If you didn't, press the dislike one. If you loved it, press the subscribe one. Check our Patreon, because we would like to be full-time YouTubers one day. We know it's not close, but you never know, it might happen. And yeah, I guess we'll see you next one. Do you want to do a signature move for the end?
I think there's too much people.
No,
around
no,
today.
that's what people love. You never know who she's gonna hit with her bag.
I'm not today. It's
Doing
too much
it.
people. I have to watch everyone because I don't want to hit anybody. Okay, guys. Let's go home, guys. I really need to practice that heel click thing. I have the flexibility of a wooden chair. Rigid. Let's go, guys. Let's go shopping.